In Russia, there are many nightclubs that have live music with waiters that bring upscale food to your table the way that used to be popular in the United States decades ago. Kentucky Fried Chicken is quite popular in Russia too, and it's regarded as something uniquely American. My task in an American-themed nightclub here was to create something that had the same recognizable flavor as KFC, and yet obviously a higher caliber of food. The vodka in this recipe isn't just a gimmick to brand it as Russian. By replacing the water in the marinade with alcohol, a lighter and flakier coating results.
The first step is making the marinade. So into the processor cup, I'm putting 30 milliliters of cider vinegar, the vodka.
I did say fried chicken, didn't I? No, seriously, don't worry. I know there's teetotalers out there that are going to say, oh my god, I can't put vodka in my food. You will not taste the vodka. Don't worry.
Now I have a Knorr chicken stock cube here. You don't have to pulverize it. You can just kind of crumble it into it, and the stick blender will do the rest of the work. And I've got a whole red chili. Exactly how much of this you use is up to you. If you want it really hot, add more. You don't want it very hot at all, just add a little piece. But add a little bit, as it really needs it. And I'm going to give the garlic and the red chili a coarse chop before I put it in here. Okay. And there they are. Now I'm going to grind this really, really well. I've got chicken wings here that I separated into the drumettes and the wingettes, as they're often called in the industry. Just divide them in two, throw out the wing tips. That's not really useful for anything. There's no meat or anything on them. So here's this marinade. Notice that there's still little flecks of the red chili in it, but no giant pieces. Now, a big part of the trick here in making the coating is to have the pepper not ground up too finely. So I'm using whole black peppercorns, and the only spice that I'm going to put in here with this is the rosemary, because this is, you know, it's like a pine needles almost, and although we want pieces of herb in there, this is just a little bit too much. So these two are actually going to get ground some. But don't go overboard. This is the key here. Don't go nuts. Just grind them enough. Use restraint.
I can't emphasize this enough. Do not overgrind the spices.
This is what we want to see. There's some coarse texture here. You still got little flecks of almost just barely cracked peppercorns. And the rosemary is not a powder. Not a powder at all. This is a very coarse texture. That's what we want. I have a large plastic container here with a lid. I've weighed 100 grams of flour out into. I'm adding a slightly generous teaspoon of baking soda, not powder, but soda. Teaspoon of oregano. Teaspoon of thyme. The rosemary and black pepper mixture from before, the teaspoon of MSG, half teaspoon, a little bit less than half a teaspoon of paprika, and a little bit less than half a teaspoon of turmeric, and the parsley, dried parsley. I'm going to mix this all together here. And going through this checklist, it's easy to forget things. I forgot the salt and the sugar, so I added those in now. Just make sure that you add everything. Go through your list before you actually start putting the chicken in. And you take the pieces, you kind of shake off the excess. You don't need to wipe them off, but shake off the excess, and layer them in here one at a time, like this. And when you've got them all in, you put the top on, agitate them, and you'll have something that looks like this. Now, actually, you want to begin deep frying these right away. Don't let them get to where the moisture has soaked all the way through the flour, or they won't be as good. And this is what you end up with, a light, flaky, golden coating with some really nice flavors in here.
The second volume of my cookbook is now available through Amazon and other booksellers. It covers the YouTube recipes from the last 8 months with more in-depth information. I received requests for the procedures on all recipes, and I've listened to you. Every recipe has step-by-step directions, and of course there are recipes that aren't on YouTube. But this is not just a recipe book. Far from it, as you can see from some of the topics scrolling by here. I'm certain that anyone who watches my channel and any serious cook will find this book a treasury of useful and new information you won't find anywhere else. If you want to know more about my adventures as a chef around the world and have some great laughs along the way, be sure to check out the video tour of my book, 40 Years in One Night. It's up on YouTube right now. Click the link. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.